name is Oliver Westmoreland. I am an IC registered level 3 advisor. Well, actually, I should say now IAA registered level 3 advisor, and I'm senior immigration lawyer with GSN Immigration. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so that you can continue to watch our extremely interesting videos about UK visa and immigration advice. Today's topic is asylum. Asylum seekers and connected matters are sort of a roundup. We've done some blogs and vlogs about this already. Let me go back into history just a short while ago. You remember the late lamented Conservative government. They passed some very harsh and draconian legislation on this subject, most particularly Illegal Migration Act 2023. This had some very harsh provisions. Anyone who came to the UK in an illegal way, they wouldn't be able to claim anything. They would probably be removed, probably wouldn't go anywhere. There's a general election sooner than people expected. This legislation, a lot of it didn't actually get on, doesn't come into force. The way these things work is a bit funny. Act of Parliament happens, but some of it might not come into force. It all might come into force, some of it might not. In this particular case, these really harsh measures did not come into force immediately, and then there was a general election, and then they lost. We have a new Labour government, so these harsh provisions in the Illegal Migration Act 2020 didn't actually come into force. The new Labour government, it did something which looked rather nice for asylum seekers. They introduced a little Act of Parliament, which is the Illegal Migration Act 2023 Amendment Regulations 2024, which seemed to have deactivated the 2023 Act. It wasn't quite the case, actually. A close look shows what they actually did. They removed the retrospective parts of the Act, but in fact those parts of the Act, they're still in place, but they haven't come into force yet, and they might not, or they might. Don't be misled or don't misunderstand. They didn't repeal these harsh measures, they simply removed the retrospective element from it, so do be aware of that. It wasn't quite as nice as it looked. The Miranda scheme, they did repeal that because that was a bit silly, everybody knew. So a lot of lawyers and people in the immigration field thought, oh, the new government is really good, really nice. They care about asylum seekers. And one solicitor's firm, who shall remain nameless, on their website they put something, they said what the new government had done further demonstrates the newly elected government's commitment to taking a more humanitarian approach to asylum seekers. Sounds good. But then, we discovered that a couple of weeks ago, something strange, horrible and unexpected. The Home Office, which is now under the control and auspices of the new government, they suddenly introduced something into the policy guidance for good character for British citizenship application. Now, this is not an Act of Parliament, it's not even an immigration law, it's policy guidance, which is written by a civil servant or a team of civil servants at the Home Office. Doesn't go through Parliament, doesn't go through anywhere at all whatsoever. They just publish it. It contains some very, pretty much harsh things as well. It said two things difficult to fully interpret. First of all, they said that any asylum seeker who came here illegally would normally be refused British citizenship if they applied for it at some point in the future. And then additionally and more specifically, asylum seekers who came on dangerous journeys like small boats, most particularly that they would be normally refused British citizenship if they applied at some point in the future. What we get from this pretty much, I think, any asylum seeker who comes illegally into the UK, probably by any means, I mean, if they come on an airline, a nice airliner, which is not dangerous, well, not always anyway, they come with false papers, presumably have come illegally. They certainly didn't come legally. So as far as we can understand, this new addition to the policy guidance, good character, British nationality, it doesn't have any high status, but it certainly tells Home Office caseworkers how to do their work. It doesn't have high legal status, but it tells Home Office caseworkers how to decide their cases. Could be very strong and very effective. So I think that all these people who have these excited ideas about how nice the new Labour government was going to be about asylum seekers, I think the party was a bit premature. Now, a lot of lawyers are upset about this. Some lawyers say that it could be challenged in law. Probably true. Policy guidance could be challenged in law, probably, if it is outside the terms of the relevant legislation. Now, in this case, the relevant legislation is the British Nationality Act 1981. Could be challenged in the courts if it's, as we say in Latin, ultra vires, if it's outside the terms of the Act of Parliament, then could be struck down by the courts. However, as I said, first of all, the new government haven't repealed the 2023 Illegal Migration Act. Some parts have not yet been brought into force, but they could. So I'm not sure this is really going anywhere. Suppose there was a successful legal challenge to this change in the policy guides, which might be successful. Then the government, have got a very huge majority in Parliament, as we know. They could just introduce a new Act of Parliament to reactivate this 2023 Act, and it could be harsher. So I think, to be absolutely honest with you, this isn't really going anywhere. Asylum seekers are facing more challenges than they used to in how they enter the UK. Another thing which is related, I would say, another strange statistic that comes up, the grant rate for asylum seekers is now shot down dramatically, about 47%. Now, a couple of years ago, it was about 67%. I don't have the explanation, but it shot down really quite dramatically. So asylum claimants in for a hard time. Some lawyers say, well, it's because of poor decision making by the Home Office. Well, maybe so, but apparently it's shot down in that way for one reason or another. Adding on to my theme about this new Labour government, I don't think that they want to be seen as soft on immigration. They're under attack from Reform UK. They say, oh, they're soft on migrants, soft on immigrants, blah, blah. They don't want to be seen as soft on immigration. They have devoted a lot of money and resources to removing those people from the UK who don't have the right to be here any longer. Failed asylum seekers, foreign criminals and various others. Apparently, since they came to power, which was summer last year, about 19,000 such people have been removed from the UK, which is a lot. Also, Home Office apparently have deployed about 1,000 more staff to deal with this. So it's pretty obvious to me, and I think most of us really, they're putting a lot more effort into than the horrible Conservative government did, who they talked about it but they didn't really do it. They're really actually doing it, so they're making a hard time. Secretary of State, she is quoted on the Home Office website. She says they are finally restoring order to the asylum system, which is not quite the same as being humanitarian, but that's the way it goes. Ms. Alina, I've covered various topics here. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
Yeah, so just going back to the addition to the policy guidance that you were talking about. So what criteria do you think will be used to determine whether a journey is considered dangerous?
Well, I can make a guess, but it says two things which are half contradictory. First of all, it says anyone who enters illegally is going to be penalised. That's a sort of blanket. So, but then it particularises someone who comes on a dangerous journey on a small boat. I would err on the side of caution. I think anyone who came illegally in any way with false papers, it's illegal, isn't it? You come with false papers, you come illegally, don't you? Maybe not dangerous, but I think it will cover all of those. Can I add something else? Some lawyer says this was contrary to the Refugee Convention. They may be right. It says states who are signed up should not penalise anyone who comes illegally to the UK to claim asylum. They may be right, but as I say, I think we're going to find it very difficult. Don't forget, Parliament is sovereign. If the Parliament passes a new act, it can't be questioned. An act of Parliament is the strongest form of legislation, so really the way it's going, I think asylum seekers are in for a tougher time under this government than they were under the previous government, most probably.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions, or is that it for today?
That's it for today, I think.
All right then, well thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
See you next time.
See you.
Bye-bye.